The next time you shower, don't look up. Published by Tia Bassi in March of 2022, this creepy video shows what could be the hair in your drain come to life. The clip shows a shower curtain pulled to the side, while up in the corner near the ceiling is this extraterrestrial-like critter. It looks spidery, but with even more legs than usual. It somehow also looks like a great pile of tangled hair. What do you think this is? I think it's time to throw the whole house away. There's an eerie sound coming from the Golden Gate Bridge that is making people lose their minds. A constant haunting hum that can be heard from miles away. Try to guess what it is. Between the red rails is where the mysterious noise is coming from, and as it turns out, this is from a mistake in a recent redesign of the bridge. The new rails were mistakenly spaced apart just enough to let the wind come screeching through at an unbearable volume. It happened in June of 2020, and as of the time of this video, I was unable to find any evidence that it's been fixed. This crab fisherman caught more than he bargained for. Published by Casey's Spotlight. Believe it or not, this is a real thing that's swimming in the waters of our oceans. Known as a wolf eel, this super creepy species dwells in the North Pacific. With a tail that stretches some 8 feet, wolf eels often wrap themselves up into caves, launching out with their wolfish heads to snatch prey, usually shellfish, urchins, and crabs. With crabs crawling in the cage alongside him, this particular wolf eel appears to be mid-meal as there's something large in its mouth. The fishermen pull the object out of the eel's mouth. What do you think of this creepy creature? My advice? Steer clear of taking an icy dip in the North Atlantic. On their last walk of the day, Redditor Gaddin420 and his dog heard something chilling in the woods. Listen closely. Let's hear it again. Many in the comments think it's a fox, others think it's a vixen, which according to one Redditor, sounds like someone having their life ended. After listening to recordings of fox screams, I'd have to agree, that is what a fox says. At a once bustling market turned ghost town in China, this lone figure was captured on camera. Published by Paranormal Planet in February of 2020, the video shows a mysterious fog shadow moving into view. As Chinese lanterns hang all around, swaying with the wind, the figure moves across the walkway before it disappears from sight. The uploader writes, "This footage was spotted by the person responsible for monitoring the street cameras. Is this a ghost? Or has the Grim Reaper come for us all?" Jake Atafi is in his living room when someone pulls open the screen door really slowly and just lets it shut. No follow-up knock, no footsteps walking away, nothing. Even his dog is wondering what the deal is. Jake stops recording to check and claims no one was outside. It's creepy, but it's too bad he didn't record out of his window to prove that his house is as haunted as he says it is. A group of musician friends are jamming out in the woods in Oregon when a tiny creature suddenly attacks one of them in broad daylight. It's a bat! Holy The bat hits Derek on his shoulder with a dull thud and all of the instruments stop. Everyone watches in disbelief as the tiny creature climbs up his body, and Derek can even feel its cold snout as it plants its tiny sharp teeth into his neck, just inches away from the jugular vein.
And then it just bit me.
It latched onto his shoulder, then crawled up his neck.
He throws the bat off and watches it fly into a tree, where it continues silently watching them from afar. They are freaked out at this point, but they think that it was just a freak occurrence and decide to play some more music. After the bat makes 2 more swipes at the man, however, his friend has had enough and shoots it with a BB gun. The group takes the bat corpse back to the local health department and has it tested. Sure enough, Derek had been bitten by a rabid bat. He had to get rabies shots for days afterwards. Get thee to a nunnery. That's what this ghost of a nun did, and it didn't turn out well for her. Dima from YouTube channel A Sip of Fear encounters the nun's ghost in this scary video. First, he sees an unexplained shadow. Then he hears an unexplained noise.
Кто здесь?
He senses something in this abandoned church. Still not seeing anything, a Steadicam captures a quiet noise at night. Later, footsteps are heard. While we don't get a glimpse of the notorious nun, I can feel her presence in this sacred place, and it sure doesn't feel holy. A YouTuber named D-Dog Vlogs has been uploading since mid-2016 and specializes in exploring haunted places that are about as scary as they come, with a preference for historic locations whenever possible. He has been known to pair up with the likes of Mo Sargi and others in an effort to push his paranormal investigations to greater lengths and solidify his place in the YouTube ghost hunting community. On January 20th of 2020, he heads to a single-story home that is rumored to hold secrets so terrible that no one in the community wanted to share any details aside from a basic address. Curious, he heads to the site with fellow ghost hunters, Tay and Carlo, to see for themselves what this house holds. The first thing they notice is a glowing yellow light that flickers oddly over a door that's bolted shut. It's one of the only working lights left in the house, and it's shining like a beacon to get their attention.
But look at that room.
That's creepy.
But more on that in a moment. For now, watch how the camera goes out of focus like something or someone invisible is standing right in front of them. It happens again here at exactly 3 minutes, and ironically goes on until he's finished asking people to comment if they see anything.
Now, I don't know if these places are haunted or not, so comment down below if you guys see or hear anything. I'm not saying they're haunted, I'm just not sure.
After some more exploring, they return to this mysterious locked door and see marks where it had been repeatedly drilled shut with a padlock. Something incredibly strong must have been in here at one point, and the family must have been intent on keeping it contained. Yet when they open the door, they are surprised to find a colorful race car border above. This is a kid's room of all places. They suspect that a child was locked in here for long periods of time, and I think the evidence proves that much is true. Perhaps they were even kept here well into adulthood, might I add. Furthermore, they seem to think this section of the door was either struck or clawed out over time, possibly after an extended period of isolation, which would require immense strength. I think it could simply be termite damage, but you tell me. So I want to know why you think the child was locked in here. It could have been evil parents or behavioral problems. The extent to which they had to go in order to keep the child contained seems to indicate an extreme psychological state that would require them to be on alert at all times. Their child probably needed to be kept away from sharp objects and locked in at night so that they don't do something drastic to themselves or to their parents while they slept. On the contrary, maybe that's not the case at all, and the child had evil, disturbed parents who did this for no reason. D-Dog explores a different abandoned house 2 months later on March 28th, and this investigation gets so crazy that I need your help to figure out if it's real. Is this red paint, or is it what I think it is? I really hope not.
That's so much.
At 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it kind of looks like somebody got jabbed in the corner, stumbled a few steps forward to the center of the room, and then went to the doorway. Then they doubled back, still leaking, and probably crumpled in this corner where the trail ends, or maybe that's where they were put by someone else. Tiny red splotches leading upstairs gives me the impression that more than one person was here. This red substance has dried against the wall and hardly looks reassuring, and sadly in the corner of this upstairs room is more evidence, but creepiest of all, even more so than what's on the wall or on the floor, is what's in this small unassuming corner, or rather what happens when they go near. This is the only part of the video that becomes blurry, and for no reason at all. It's as if something is trying to get their attention, and perhaps figuring out for the first time that it has crossed onto the other side and can no longer communicate with the living. Now you're probably wondering where the homeowners were, and so was I, but with a basement flooded with solid ice, I think we both know the answer. While visiting Memeland, YouTuber Fokker Donkey captured a paranormal sighting while out on a ghost hunt. As the guys drive forward, something uncanny drifts past. Did you see it? A pale figure appears on the left. The crew believes this is a Pakong, a Javanese ghost said to be the soul of a passed away person trapped in their shroud. I'm not totally sold on this one, simply because I think it could be a statue in the darkness, appearing to drift as they drive past. Then again, it almost looks like it moves upward rather than just sideways. What do you think? A man riding his motorcycle in India at night captures a bizarre sight on his helmet cam that makes him scream in terror. A strange all-white figure crosses his lane without any regard for their safety. He manages to go around the apparition, still screaming all the while, but I can't help but wonder if he would have passed right through the phantom had he kept going straight. Don't get me wrong, this could in all likelihood simply be a regular person covering themselves with a shroud to make a scary video, but what's weird is how, when he passes by, you can see a spooky white light piercing from under the fabric that doesn't look like it belongs. He turns around immediately and lets out another scream because it's nowhere to be found. So is this a fake video? Or is this apparition actually recreating its final moments on Earth by walking on the road at night and then disappearing? Not all of us want to be detectives in this scary case, but sometimes the job is forced on us. YouTube team Exploring with Angelo ends up on the trail of a possible life taker with this Randonautica gone wrong. It takes the crew to this creepy forest where they see a light amongst the trees.
There's definitely someone coming. Yeah. Are you catching it on that camera?
The light grows brighter and gets closer. The beam of light flickers in the darkness. And then they capture what's holding it. Using night vision, they get a close shot of the figure as it continues in its mission. After the figure leaves, they follow its footprints in the snow and they encounter him yet again from a distance.
See anything? Yeah, they're right there.
As they get closer, they smell a strong stench.
Smell?
I don't know.
You smell that?
Yeah.
One YouTuber points out another light beam from behind them later as they're reading this note.
Senior position in our new Arizona community. Which makes sense. Do you remember that letter that we found?
This is the.
We were in Arizona and it was talking about a new commune or something.
Okay, yes. Now that you.
Does the beam belong to that strange figure? Later, as they're walking, they hear a scream in the night. I don't know what any of this means. I'm not sure if it means losing your life, but I would have to go and check the area again because it looks to me like the figure was burying something, but I'd definitely do that in the daylight. Okay, so this isn't a video per se, but it was too eerie to pass up. This was recorded around 10 years ago in a home in Philadelphia. The family kept hearing noises coming from the basement, so they decided to hire a paranormal team who placed a recorder down there and waited. Nothing happened for 3 days, and then at 3:12 a.m. they recorded this. The horrible recording continues to go on and on, seemingly forever. No video evidence was ever produced, but these possibly paranormal screams will continue to live on YouTube for years to come. You're exploring a dark underground mine, water dripping, echoes, silence, and then you hear this. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Resurrect. The Redditor was on an adventure through the Dissido mine in Arizona when he heard what he describes as footsteps on wood coming from deep within the tunnel. He says he and his crew were the only ones there at the time. Would you hightail it out of there or wait to see who or what was approaching? Well, most in the comments are already racing for the hills. Redditor JD250 offers a potential explanation. He writes, "When I was a kid, I lived up in Tennessee right on an old mine used by the town for storing stuff in the early 1800s, and I would hear sounds like these." Although JD says that he doesn't personally believe in ghosts, he admits to sensing the presence of pain and suffering in a place. On another note, the Redditor felt angry and hostile vibes in the place and insisted that it felt like something terrible had occurred in that mine, and he didn't want to know what it was. He also notes that his stepfather felt he couldn't breathe at one point, and not from overexertion. Do you think this could be explained naturally, or is something haunting this mining tunnel? Wherever you stand, myself and most agree that this is one of the creepiest videos posted. A Dutch YouTuber named Govert Sweep and his friends go well past their limits while exploring an old place in the forest that's scary enough to have them jumping at every noise, of which I'll admit there's way too many.
Absurd dat daar nu iemand boven. Wat was dat? Was jij dat?
I've heard of a house settling, but this sounds like the opposite. Like a spooky house is ramping up in a bad way. A haunted place where everything has gone wrong long ago.
Wat was dat dan? Wie was het nou toch? Wie was het nou toch? Wie was het nou toch?
I probably would have already been out of there, but they decide to keep seeing what there is to find, which is one of the shadiest entrances to any basement I've ever seen.
Oh, nee.
They go down there long enough to record only a few seconds of footage before getting out fast, and for good reason. Yes, something scary could be lurking among the rubble, but there are also structural concerns as well. The place looks ready to collapse on them, so they made the right decision because no scary ghost or creature videos worth taking that kind of risk. I thought all of the scary Alexa videos had been sorted out by Amazon, but according to a TikToker named the Jackie Cole, they've only just begun. She must want to see if Alexa still does that creepy laugh because she asks it to repeat her own monotone laughter.
Alexa, Simon says ha 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 ha.
Alexa repeats the words back in a small voice that quickly becomes breathy and scary with gasping noises and a strange sentence at the end that kind of sounds like I am at the end. Let me know what you think it says.
Ha 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 ha.
I have never heard a machine sound like this before, and I hope I never will for the rest of my life. If you happen to have an Alexa, I wouldn't recommend trying this out unless you want to hear a similarly scary reply. This worrisome video I'm about to show you was posted on March 18th of 2017 by a person who had been teetering on the edge of self-destruction for years.
Things are much worse this time. Something seems to be after me. I don't know what else to say. Except goodbye.
You'll never guess what he does next, but first let me tell you what he has been through. His psychological torment would begin in early 2015, approximately 2 years before his final goodbye. That was when someone began knocking at his door almost every night for days. He lives all alone and is a very private person, so introverted in fact that we never learn his name. For him to have a visitor is not normal, let alone in the middle of the night. The knocks were annoying at first, but he figured it would stop if he ignored it. But when that didn't work, he decided to start documenting everything early on, in case he needed to take it to the police or something later. He also decided to confront it and defend himself if need be. This incident, taken on February 12, 2015, starts with 2 knocks that are so soft, it would be easy to think you're imagining them. But after 3 weeks of harassment, he is frazzled and hears every noise, so he springs to action ready to meet force with force, but there's just one problem. Nothing is ever there to confront. Listen closely to this part, because I hear chatter after he locks up. He installs a second camera outside the very next night on February 13th, 2015, Friday the 13th to be exact. Sure enough, it starts again. He opens the door and no one's there. It's not 2 different videos put together either, because his movements in both videos sync perfectly, like at 1 minute and 15 seconds when he smooths his hair. Even if he practiced this routine, it still wouldn't be this dead on. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that this happens at 3 a.m. every night. Anyone would want to move and he absolutely did, but his money situation meant he couldn't either continue to endure this or go homeless in the middle of the winter. Eventually, he decides to go outside before 3 a.m. and see if he can catch whatever or whoever is doing this on video. He doesn't see them, but he does find footprints leading away from his house into the woods. The footprint is separated in 2 halves, more like a hoof print than a foot, yet 2 legs instead of 4. Some people have said this could be a demon or even a cryptid. I don't know about all of that, but I know that he really did go out at 3 a.m. and I know this because I hear a train throughout the video. Oddly enough, this late night train is heard in all of his videos, and I think could be closely related. Something bad must have happened on the nearby tracks. By August 28th, Whatever had left those footprints was looking for other ways inside both day and night. No longer was it confined to 3 a.m. Tell me if this is an animal or something way worse. I didn't hear any claws tapping. This was the sound of somebody fast. A raccoon or a possum would be doing this at nighttime. This was something big in the middle of the day, like a restless spirit. So after years of experiencing this and other similar encounters, perhaps you'll better understand why, after saying goodbye in March of 2017, he simply decided to open up the door and stop.
Goodbye.
Whatever that was, it sounded far from being a person. Over 2 years later, this mysterious final video was uploaded on January 1st, 2019. Those sound like church bells. Maybe this is a clip taken from a funeral. Could it be his? And whoever typed these replies doesn't act like him at all. In Toy Story, the toys come to life in a charming manner when the kids are away, but when it happens in this video, it's more chilling than charming. Originally posted to TikTok by Oscar Ferlin, the video shows a Woody doll standing upright on the kitchen counter with one hand on a can. Noticing that a human person has entered, the doll glances over at him before dropping his hand, going stiff like a board, and falling over backwards into the kitchen sink. Although it truly does look eerily real, some claim it's an animation, while Redditor Anna Cabana says the dolls are designed to fall over in this manner when hearing the phrase, "Someone's coming." Regardless of whether it's an animation or the toy's design, I think we can all agree with Mythical Gamer 9 who writes, it looks a bit too real, still very creepy. Definitely not a toy on my wish list. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched, so he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. A YouTuber named Barbecue Thunder 7 watches in awe as huge hunks of hail fall from the sky, landing with the force of solid rock. When it finally starts to calm down, he summons his courage and steps outside for a closer look. Hail is still falling periodically at this point and could get him at any moment. Some of them landed with such impact that now they are buried deep into the ground, and if you have any doubt as to how much danger he was in, these are the holes in his roof from the bad weather. If it can do this to a roof, imagine what it could do to his Paranormal World records a weird video in a parking garage that he claims is inhabited by a scary unknown creature. He is walking to his car when he hears some seriously scary noises coming from the other side, and that's when he says this creature was caught on camera. Something impossibly fast and low runs across the ground and makes him get into his car fast. The unknown creature looks like a bizarre sighting at first, until you zoom in for a better look, at which point the object looks pretty fake, to be honest. I mean, the legs don't even move, so I don't even know how this creature sighting could be real. I also found another video in which he says to have had a ghost sighting in the same building. I mean, the chances of having a creature sighting and a ghost sighting in the same lifetime let alone in the same building, seems pretty rare. I will say this video looks much more convincing. That is, until 13 minutes and 13 seconds when the little ghost girl abruptly disappears, instead of smoothly fading away. What do you think? Is this video real or fake? Number 1. A YouTuber named Chris Lamb says that he was all alone when he shot this drone footage at Fort McClellan, Alabama, but the video says otherwise. You can clearly see that nobody is in the background at the beginning. But when Chris steadies the camera just a moment later, you can see someone standing by the street lamp. There's not enough time for anyone to walk out from behind a building, but yet here they are. Also, did you see how they seem to suddenly disappear in plain sight? I don't see any editing cuts, so I have absolutely no idea how this dark silhouette managed to vanish like that. But look again and you can definitely see them dematerialize. There's nothing wide enough for them to hide behind. They're just gone. Let me know if you think Chris Lamb's video is paranormal, extraterrestrial, or otherwise. Sparks fly out of the wall at an internet cafe and send everyone into a total panic. At first it looks like they are trapped in the far corner. At 41 seconds you can see it's coming from the damaged circuit panel, so there's no way to turn off the power. You can see that they are fortunately outside, but probably not standing as far back as they should be. If you speak this language, tell me what they are saying. I hope he's telling the crowd to back up before someone gets zapped. While the front of a restaurant is running like clockwork, behind the scenes, things are heating up. That's what happened to Zach Burrell, who was working at McDonald's in 2011 when a grease fire occurred. He published his video of heroism in October of 2011, noting that it was him putting the grease fire out, and that he was poorly trained to do so. In the beginning of the video, you can see the flames spring up in the cooker. Then there's a mass panic in the kitchen, and workers start racing around, trying to figure out what to do. Every effort they make seems to throw heat on the flames, lighting it up more. Zach explains what happened. First, I pulled the wrong mounted extinguisher, and the grill was covered in liquid. Then one of my crew members tried putting an oily lid on top of the vat to cut the oxygen off. It fell in sideways and the flames doubled. In the end, Zach grabbed a fire extinguisher to douse the flames, but not before the entire kitchen filled with smoke, leaving a dramatic scene that could have led to lives being lost. Pretty crazy, he writes, but at least I saved the store. Michael Jackson may have made a spirited cameo in YouTuber Kelsey Davies' adventure in the Forest Lawn Cemetery. Accompanied by Omar Gosh TV, Kelsey enters the Los Angeles Cemetery, where the King of Pop was laid to rest in 2009.
Drawn to over here, like I just felt like I needed to look on these walls, and all of a sudden you find Margaret, which is so great.
This is what happened during the team's visit.
Close by. Are you here, Michael?
Is Michael have you met him? Do you know if Michael Jackson's here?
After that, Michael began to make music.
Is there someone here with us?
Using dowsing rods to communicate, Kelsey gets a reading.
It's moving a lot.
Look.
Oh.
Did it? Are you this? Yeah. I'm so curious.
While continuing to speak to Margaret, she confirms that the spirit is not related to Michael.
Hey, I got a question for Margaret. Are you related to Michael Jackson? Does that mean no?
No.
Okay.
Kelsey then really starts to become one with Michael.
My heart hurts.
Oh.
Like a heart attack. This person. How did Michael die? I know.
Heart failure?
Heart failure?
Cardiac arrest.
That was his.
That was his cause.
And at last, Michael reveals himself.
Is this person here, is your name Michael? Can you cross the dowsing rods in my hand for yes and open them for no?
They are not alone. Ooh. It turns out something else is here.
Are you Michael Jackson?
Oh, it is.
Does Michael have company?
Are you a demon?
Maybe he's playing out Thriller in the afterlife. When Ibtisam and Kevin put a GoPro on their dog, they were never expecting to have so many scary moments caught on tape that they would later question if their house was really haunted. Here's their paranormal evidence. Okay, so at 1 minute and 35 seconds, the dog clearly hears some noises that we can't. Dogs have really good hearing though, so that's not really paranormal proof. The dog goes into the next room and appears to see something, though it's probably just a balloon in the corner that it doesn't recognize. Again, weird, but not necessarily paranormal. However, as soon as it turns around and lets its guard down, a loud, scary noise comes from where it was just looking. Nothing else happens for a while, and the dog gets some sleep. Upon waking up, the dog takes an interest in the living room again, this time investigating under the table, instead of in the corner, almost like it's tracking movement. It goes to look out the door. The window appears to be shut when all of a sudden, a creepy scream fills the house. And shortly after, it looks like the dog sees phantom movements across the living room, same as before. The dog is obviously stressed out and can't seem to stay in one place for long. And maybe it's just me, but at 16 minutes and 23 seconds, I definitely see an eerie figure caught on GoPro sitting with her back turned. The owners return home none the wiser, and if you look closely, it looks like the dog runs past them both, simply wanting to bolt out of the door and get away from the possibly haunted home. Baby monitors sometimes capture that which we don't even know is there. This creepy clip was posted to r/ghosts by Zealous Ideal Call 53. It shows a monitor placed in a child's bedroom. The baby is playing while her guardian appears to be on her phone. All is normal until you turn up the sound. A growl of a voice snarls "help me" 3 times in a row at the beginning of the video. Neither the baby nor the young woman in the video appears to hear the voice. Is it crossed wires with a nearby baby monitor? Did someone hack the monitor's sound? Or is it an EVP capturing someone beyond crying out for help? The Redditor explains in the comments that this isn't the only strange occurrence in their house, and that paranormal events have regularly been happening since she was pregnant. The Redditor writes, "We've had another incident with her nanny cam and seeing a black shadow near her, an orb, and her suddenly waking up screaming. I've had issues in my own room with the feeling of someone watching me, breathing on my neck, severe night terrors, and missing items that suddenly return. Does this give more credence to the presence of a paranormal entity? My answer is yes." A Texas A&M University student in Corpus Christi who goes by the name of Fifertisor has been hearing noises in his dorm room for quite some time. What began as an occasional knocking noise now, months into the semester, has developed into persistent paranormal sounds, stuff like footsteps coming from an empty room. This red line at 15 seconds is where the far wall is, so like I said, no one is in there, except for a poltergeist. No one could have lifted this mattress because the room is too small for anyone to hide. Next to the mattress is a closet that's empty and that's it, nothing else. Now the bathroom door opens and closes, yet he finds no one inside of the tiny space either, and this area is even smaller than the room before. In all fairness, there are 2 seconds of darkness from 46 seconds to 48 seconds that I guess could mark a spot where he might have stopped recording, let someone out of the bathroom, and then started recording again to make it look empty. I didn't see any such transition in the first room with the mattress, so my gut instinct says this event is real. A YouTuber named Shannon Griffin recorded this short scene as part of an amateur film he was working on. One of his friends, Rachel, goes into the alley and the scene ends. It seems simple enough, but look at the bottom left for a weird surprise. The swaying shadow is not supposed to be part of the shot. Later, when Shannon was editing the footage, he was terrified by the strange discovery because nobody was standing off camera there. It's not a tree in the wind because these plants in the foreground don't move at all, while this shadow figure sways wildly. The only explanation I have, assuming that they are telling the truth to begin with, is maybe some nosy neighbor was watching them from a window and casts their shadow on the sidewalk below, but the way the shadow moves is so odd that I don't think this is it at all, so maybe it was paranormal. This poltergeist is cooking up something scary. A YouTuber's security camera captured his kitchen coming to life. Moments later, this happened. And then not satisfied with the first couple forks, the poltergeist gets one last in for good measure. I'm guessing this poltergeist is either an angry cook or that he's a foodie who's lost his appetite in the afterlife. An Uber driver is taking home 2 passengers when a car they have never seen before overtakes them on the left and then puts on the brakes. Before anyone has the chance to make sense of the situation, the other driver is already hurrying over. He taps on the window and orders the Uber driver to get out of his car, which makes the passengers panic.
What's going on?
I don't know.
What is that?
What's that?
You blew the right leg. Get the out of the car right now. Just go around.
Thinking fast, the Uber driver takes the right course of action by not getting out of his vehicle, driving away instead. They manage to escape and are ready to forget about the whole incident when they see his high beams on them again. That's when they make the second smart decision and get the police on the phone.
Call 911. Make a left here. Make a left here. Our car is following us. And he bangs on the window and said, get out of the car to the driver.
Eventually, they get pulled over and explain everything to an officer, who proceeds to speed away after dispatching a description of the vehicle to all other units.
It's hard for him to open the doors because they don't know how to open the door with the Tesla.
That's good.
So that actually worked.
Okay, so see, now that's another
Did he try to open the
Yes,
door?
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
The car that was chasing them is still nearby, and the driver is charged with being under the influence. Kudos to the driver for keeping his passengers safe and not responding with aggression himself. Had he gotten out of the car and into an altercation, he could have been charged with something or made the situation worse. A Redditor named RadLad1 made a 3-post series about a possible ghost lurking in his closet. In the first video, he stands outside and hears a dripping noise. It's very quiet, so I'll boost the sound for you to better hear. That sounds like it could be a leaky pipe or something, but look what happens when he goes to open it.
Okay, that's not
His hand isn't even touching anything when there's a knock from the other side. The question is whether this is a spirit or just someone he knows. The first video piqued Reddit's interest, so he began documenting more. The spirit is in a foul mood on a different night and the noises grow persistent. Radlad1 finds himself reluctantly standing before his haunted closet once again. The air sounds charged with electricity and carries with it a distant wail, and that's when he notices the door is slightly ajar. Okay, so this could be fake, and the second person could be inside the closet, but wouldn't the shadow of their arm show against the wall here when they slam the door? I see nothing. By now, paranormal activity during the day too, whereas before it was just late at night. Everyone is demanding he open the closet and show them what's inside, and he waits until it starts making noises to prove to everyone, once and for all, that this closet is quite haunted. There's absolutely nothing inside but this creepy doll, which says everything I need to know. However, shortly before he opens the closet, there's a brief moment where he zooms out of focus. This could be where he stopped recording to let his friend out, then zoomed back into focus to make it look like a continuous take, but it looks pretty real to me. Some poltergeists are gentle, others are vicious. Published by Find Ghost in November of 2021, the uploader of this video writes, "Imagine coming home to this." Security footage captures a large and heavy-looking sofa flip forward onto its face unexpectedly. A moment later, a piece of glass is catapulted from a display in the corner. The glass launches across the room and hits a wall. Then something seems to be horseplaying with the camera itself. It is rolled around onto the floor, while yet another object appears to be on its way to falling over on it. The scary video cuts out before the object does, but I wonder what else this family came home to. A YouTuber named LaxRebel225 is playing a video game at home when he hears something loudly bust through the front door. He's frantically looking from room to room when finally he hears it making a racket again, this time from the kitchen. When he crosses into the kitchen, nothing is to be found. Instead, he hears it again from behind. I'm not sure why he stomps his foot here. If he's trying to scare the creature away, it doesn't work. LaxRebel does a full circle around his home and ends up standing just outside of the kitchen again. He seems to get a bad feeling and hesitates. That's when this inhuman noise fills his house. The creature seems to say something in a chittering language that almost sounds like an evil laugh. Then it leaves his home, shutting the door behind itself. Maybe I'm just overthinking, but the alien's voice sounds very high quality, like way too good for the average YouTuber to edit into their video with home equipment. As much as I don't want to admit it, I think this video could be real based on the creepy laughter alone. Still, I'd definitely like to know what you think after watching this video. I'm especially looking for the opinions of people who have experience with audio engineering. While exploring a haunted location in Orlando, Redditor Callie1939 captured this on SLS video. Watch closely. Later, as they walked past that same area, many in the comments think the Connect is simply picking up 2 gravestones, which is why it jumped to the next 2 gravestones, making it look like the figure was walking away from them. I tend to agree, but it is curious that the EM detector went off in the same location. What do you think? Sensitive sensor lights can sense stuff invisible to the human eye. At least this one can. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Spread the Words, the Redditor shares that strange things have been occurring in his grandmother's house. One of these strange things involve orbs that seem to trigger the hallway sensor lights. This happened on more than one occasion. The short clip does show an orb rising into view, and instantly the hallway light turns on. Is this a paranormal event or merely a coincidence? Believers in the paranormal commonly think orbs are light energy that is somehow linked to the spirit world. Skeptics believe they're just air particles, dust, water, or other types of photography backscatter. But how do you explain dust triggering a light sensor? While there are plenty of skeptics in the comments saying this orb is just dust, others are prone to think otherwise. How would dust turn on a light? A Narrow369 writes that he would assume it was dust if the motion light wasn't triggered by it, but every time the orb appears, the light turns on. Others observe that if the light sensor was sensitive enough to be triggered by dust, wouldn't the light always be on? Whose side are you on? A YouTuber named Saltwater Sean is exploring underwater in Lower Prospect, Nova Scotia, Canada, when he makes a startling discovery that has him holding back a frightened scream. Dolls, freaky ones. He can hardly stand looking at these dolls long enough to capture them on video. I think I might see them moving ever so slightly, but it could be the wind that's moving the dolls.
We've got these two super creepy dolls that scared me underwater when I found that one on the right there. That really kind of gave me a scare.
I probably unearthed an ancient curse or something, Sean writes in the description of this scary video. Judging by the evil stare of these two pale creepy dolls, one with red eyes and the others being jet black, I think he could be correct about that curse. Somebody probably threw them in the water for a reason is all I'm saying. A YouTuber named Bros Got Game is convinced that his local graveyard is haunted, but the only way to find out is to grab a friend and record there at 3 a.m. They haven't even entered the main courtyard before they hear something approach.
But if you guys see anything that... What was that?
Smoke follows them throughout their exploration, even though there are no flames at any point in the video. After following a dirt path for a while, they come across a broken rope suspended from a gnarled old tree. It's pretty obvious to me that it must have snapped under someone's weight, though where they are is not clear. A short while later, one of them thinks they feel something grab their arm and quickly hurry out. Certainly a smart choice. It's not surprising to most of us when schools are haunted. Just think of all the evil that goes on there. Posted by Dundee into the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is from his old middle school, a Coal River Heights school, and was taken in 2013 or 14. This short video appears to show a phantom in the hallway of the middle school. It floats past unsuspectingly, appearing for only a couple seconds before vanishing out of sight. Dundee provides further details of the video's origin in the comments of this clip, explaining who is behind it. All I really know of it is that it was my friend's mom who knew the janitor, and he sent her the video of this. I'm guessing that he wasn't sure that he could record the screen somehow. Redditor Windtree Rock then wondered what the janitor's backstory was, as he was curious why the janitor took the video, and if he suspected paranormal activity. Without this information, skeptics in the comments suspect this is a bug, thinking it's a spider. Others are leaning towards the paranormal, with many expressing fear of what this is. Are you afraid? The Wild Boar Hotel is located in the middle of nowhere, and the YouTube team, the Ouija Brothers, are traveling there to investigate. Outside, one of their camera lights immediately starts acting up. When they break out the K2 inside, they quickly get a response.
If you can hear me, can you stop and walk away from the device in the middle of the room? Fuck me, it's Max's name.
Is that a song?
This continues until they turn the device off. Later, they hear a light tap.
So you?
and then a not so light one.
We can finish if you want.
Did you touch that ball then?
I did not. I did hear that though. I thought that was you.
They ask the spirit a question, and it seems to respond.
Do you like the sound of my voice?
Oh.
If so, can you knock?
Either this old abandoned hotel is extra creaky, or there's something walking the halls here. I wouldn't want to stick around to find out which it is. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by BushWookie83, this redditor wrote, "Looks like Mike Myers paying me a visit. WTF is that?" Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Hey man. That was cool. What are you doing? What's going on? You okay? Can I get away? Do you want me to say how you're doing?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Duck Consume Bread wrote, "Man, I don't know how you could just sit there. I'd already be moved out, lol." While Neo1LoneWolf6985 wrote, "It looks like the reflection of your flashlight on your phone, reflecting on certain parts of the glass, giving off the illusion of a face actually. Looks like the exact same tattoo I have of Michael Myers on my arm. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments." A YouTuber named Nerdy Weasel goes exploring an abandoned house in his neighborhood with a ghost meter to see if it's really as haunted as people say. His first piece of paranormal evidence occurs while entering the old building when the ghost meter goes off by itself.
Camera. Here, Jose.
As he and his friend look around, a paranormal feeling fills them both with a fearful uncertainty, followed by this scary moment.
Bro, I don't feel safe right now, bro. I feel shit everywhere. Yo, I'm not tripping. There's somebody right there. I'm not tripping. There was somebody right there. You can even check the camera back.
He thinks he's caught a ghost on camera, and even though his camera fails to capture it, I still believe this video because the ghost meter beeps as soon as he starts talking about seeing a creepy figure.
Yo, I'm not tripping. There's somebody right there. I'm not tripping. There was somebody right there. You can even check the camera back.
And also at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, if you look closely, a ghost orb floats by the doorway where he says the figure is. They get really freaked out and climb back through the window when the ghost makes an object fall from somewhere inside of the haunted house. They run back to the sidewalk and they laugh at the paranormal encounter through a fence, making the mistake of thinking they're safe.
We're here at the We're here at the Plantation Club Draft House.
Just when they thought they'd gotten away, the ghost meter is pounded with paranormal energy and goes off like never before. It's not electronic interference either because the paranormal equipment had been relatively quiet until this scary moment. They try and dodge the ghost by walking fast down the block, but there's no outrunning the paranormal. Finally, it seems to leave them alone until about a block later when Nerdy Weasel feels a mysterious presence wash over them once more.
Oh, someone walking behind us. Chill.
First, he says he feels watched by an apparition, and then the ghost meter goes off. If it was the other way around, I'd be skeptical, but this sequence of events seems like they've really offended a spirit that is going to follow them for a long time. It looks like exploring this abandoned house has gone wrong for them in the worst possible way. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, "Even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time." He continues writing that he was walking in some woods That would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright, a hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. What is this blue sphere spinning in the sky? Shared by YouTuber Arte Morbid, this video was captured by Juanito Juan in Valle Hermoso, Mexico. The footage was taken at around 2:30 in the morning. Up close, the unidentified flying object looks like this. It was drifting over this man's house for around 30 minutes before it vanished. It certainly doesn't look like anything identifiable to me, but is it extraterrestrial? I do think the increased activity in this area might indicate something mysterious is going on. YouTube channel Dayton Haunted Explorers dive into the Fairfield County Infirmary, and the amount of activity they get is intense. After setting a camera up in the infirmary, they capture a series of unexplained sounds.
I came in here earlier on accident. I did not know this bathroom was in here, and I don't know why, but it really creeps me out.
They capture even more activity in the attic.
There was a bag over here.
Later, even more EVPs are captured. Then, as they attempt to communicate with the spirits, the windows start to rattle.
Something just shook this window.
One of the crew enters this room, and she captures a blurry figure on camera. After feeling like she was grabbed a couple times, the crew packs it up to leave, but the spirits aren't done yet. Were the spirits trying to get them? They may not have succeeded this time, but I'm guessing they'll have better luck with the people who enter this haunted place next. A YouTuber named 11 Macleod and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home.
There's something over here, moving around.
This was the moment when a YouTuber named Mixed Breed Entertainment gasped in surprise. And turned around because he thinks that he felt the presence of a ghost so near. That's not enough evidence to prove this basement is haunted, but what happens next certainly is.
I'll try something real quick. Is there anyone here? What the?
The stuffed animal falls over when a ghost is asked to move an object.
Did the teddy bear just move? What the is that?
Then a ghost orb is caught on camera seemingly coming out of the toy itself.
It just got really what the
Okay, so the toy could fall and a particle of dust could fly over it, I suppose. But when the same thing happens a second time, coincidences go out the window. Paranormal is what I think this is.
Can you move it again? Oh,
Sure enough, there's another orb when this happens. How would you feel if your CCTV camera caught this? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Relevant Hole 5903. This footage of a woman in white was caught on camera in the dark of night. It shows a ghostly figure in white crossing the grounds outside of a gated building with barbed wire fixed to the top. The stranger walks slowly in her flowing dress until she leaves the camera's sight. Some are suggesting this is a classic walk of shame, others think the Redditor lives next to some shady stuff, but some are sure it's the legendary La Lorena. If it is, stay clear of water, because the legend goes that she would take your life in the water. Redditor Blues Forever 67 writes, "This is one of those instances where I think, what if we see ghosts all the time, but they're so vivid that we just think they're people?" I have to agree with that statement. My mind has been blown by this footage. This 2009 video is some of the earliest and most bizarre evidence of the weird and mysterious lights at the Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, which is considered a hotbed of paranormal activity all around. Perfect spheres of lights like this one often are sighted in the sky or sometimes on the ground. Strange lights that have never been explained. The mysterious lights don't look like anything made by a person because they are almost as tall as a tree and extremely wide, much bigger than even the largest of spotlights. This next video, taken by the uploader's brother shortly after spending a day at the Skinwalker Ranch, shows an object moving on its own in their basement.
Swinging for 15 minutes now.
More unexplained lights have been haunting his basement. Did something paranormal follow them home? This video could very well be proof that the humanoid kingdom extends into the insect world. At first glance, this video appears to be a firefly or some similar sort of bug, but when slowed down frame by frame, you can clearly see that this is not a bug at all, but rather appears to be a tiny winged humanoid. The video shows an insect-like humanoid with clearly discernible arms and legs. Unlike most bugs, this humanoid only has 4 limbs, and the arms appear to be twice as short as the legs, much like a person. There's simply no insect on Earth like it. It's just too bad the lighting conditions don't provide more detail, because it would have been interesting to see more of its face and overall color patterns. Exactly where this video was shot is not known. a YouTuber named RJFD gets a phone call from a friend telling him to look at the sky. He goes outside and doesn't really see anything at first. It sounds like thousands of fireworks going off at once, but this is late at night in the middle of winter in small town Michigan, so that doesn't make sense. There were no fireworks planned at all. Then the entire sky changes color.
What is that?
If fireworks is truly not the answer, then the only other explanation I have is some sort of strange weather phenomenon. Let me know if you think you have a logical reason for what's going on here, because I'm really not sure and neither is anyone in the comments section of this video. 3 friends are driving down some back roads late at night when they've caught something on video that has people questioning what was on the side of the road.
What?
No, you don't see that.
Oh my god, what is that?
It's a dog, isn't it?
Can you hear that growling?
The creature looks at them as they question whether or not it's been hit and needs their help. While it goes deeper into the forest, they feel like they should get out of the car and check to see if it's all right.
God, I'm really scared. Tom, where is it? Is it in the bush?
A deep growling sound coming from the woods keeps them from exploring any closer. They are pretty sure this isn't someone's dog, like they thought, but they aren't sure what to do next. That's when the decision is made for them. Run.
Is it? It sounds really close. Right, get in the car now, Tom.
The comments and likes for this video were split 50-50 between believers and skeptics. I might have thought this was real if I watched it just one time, but upon closer analysis, it's pretty obvious this was somebody in a creature costume on their hands and knees. When you look at their feet at 22 seconds, there are no claws and you can tell this is a costume that you step into, or at least that's what I think. Tell me what you make of this bizarre encounter caught on a full moon that night. These two are having the time of their lives, but not everyone has come to the party. Posted on TikTok by Vina Saputri2. This scary video shows a pair having a grand old time swimming by a waterfall, but as the camera swings around, a creepy figure is seen sulking in the background. The mysterious figure lurks nearly out of sight along the rocks behind some overhanging brush. It looks like a young girl with dark hair wearing white. Why is it watching them? Is this about to crash their party? She certainly doesn't throw off any party vibes. More creepy stalker vibes in my opinion. Have you ever met an angry shadow? You're about to. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Sensitive Chart 6221. This scary video was captured in Amarillo, Texas, as the Redditor and his friends were exploring. The footage shows the group walking down the hallway of an abandoned hospital. Watch the doorway at the end of the hall. You can see a dark figure around the corner. It moves out of view as they pass, but it's not clear if that's because the cameraman is veering left or the figure physically hides itself. The right side door also seems to fall closed. A moment later, you hear a strange groan or growl.
Look down one of these before.
Some in the comments think it sounds like an animal. Others think that the dark figure is just the shadow of the dude in the white shirt. Or could the shadow figure be growling at these intruders? I'm gonna go with that as my guess. This rare footage of a possible ghost ship made waves over the internet back in 2010. Everyone thought it was a paranormal sighting at sea, but it actually turned out to be a rare mirage caused by changes in air temperature. Apparently, when the water cools off, the air temperature just right, it sometimes can make ships look like they are floating. This is called the Fata Morgana's effect. I'd really appreciate it if someone in the comments section could leave a more detailed scientific explanation to help us better understand this strange phenomenon. A man from an unknown country is checking an old apartment when he is confronted by the spirit of its former inhabitants. First, something whispers behind him in another language, possibly Arabic, followed by movement. Then they slam the door he just walked through and raise the lock in midair, something that a person would not be able to do just from banging really hard on the other side. Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here. Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear, and when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast. They sound heavy and are heading straight his way. A man on a train awakes to find someone staring at him in a weird way, a ghost in the window to be precise. The pale figure doesn't move, supposedly locking eyes with the passenger, who at this point is beyond creeped out, feels watched, and thinks this is some scary stuff to wake up to. When zoomed in, it could be the reflection of something inanimate, though of what I'm not so sure. Whatever it is, the transparent outline of a face is still visible nonetheless. If you still can't see it, look on the right side of the window and you'll see a weird face with a long, narrow nose and all black eyes pressed against the glass. I assume the person who caught this on camera takes this train often and has never seen anything like this before. So what could this strange sighting be? April and Kevin of a YouTube channel called AK Explorations team up with some of their ghost hunting friends to take on the Florida Grand Opera House, a historic location established in 1884 that is rumored to have acquired quite a few spirits over the past 135 years. April stands behind the scenes and gazes upon a row after row of empty seats. She's busy taking in the sights when she captures this paranormal moment on camera. At 4 minutes and 48 seconds, a shadow figure walks between the red curtains on the other side of the opera. I was thinking that this could have just been the shadow of one of the other people she was with, except for 3 things. First, there's also a passing shadow on her side of the room at 4 minutes and 46 seconds. It happens next to her, in exactly 2 seconds before it happens again on the other side of the room. Second, there's a really weird noise before the shadow person appears. She kinda makes a sigh, but there's also like a shrieking noise or something at the same time. Third of all, these orbs appear when she tries to tell Kevin about the experience.
Who's back there? I waited. I saw someone walk back there.
Next, they go to the balcony seats, and a strange feeling overtakes April at 7 minutes and 27 seconds.
Weird up here, guys. Let's sit here for a minute. Actually, here for a minute.
This strange white anomaly appears 2 seconds after she says she doesn't feel normal up here. It does look like a floating hair, but it also kind of looks like a phantom outline walking down the steps. The feeling grows so strong that she needs to step away and regather her thoughts. She turns around and is sure she's being watched again, and I'm almost sure I see the curtains move right where she believes it to be.
Guys, it feels really weird. Right here. Chelsea's doing her office down there.
When AK Explorations aren't exploring fancy operas, they are usually busy investigating much less sophisticated haunts, like this chicken farm in the middle of nowhere. Eyes are on them from afar before they've even stepped foot inside, hopefully those of a wild animal rather than a restless spirit, though probably the latter based on what they soon encounter.
Middle of the night, by ourselves.
April immediately feels watched as they enter the abandoned home. She turns around and her light barely manages to catch more eyes, along with whatever this is.
Sorry, I heard something behind me.
It's a different color than the surrounding green plants, and it looks much closer than anything else, possibly even on the porch with her. She doesn't notice and moves on. Inside, all of the windows are blacked out so that no light gets through. Though I don't know why anyone would choose to do this, and I was hoping you might have a reason for it. In the corner of the living room is a knotted rope surrounded by flies. I don't know what happened here, but I'm glad they didn't check to see what's inside the black garbage bag right next to the rope. Next, April and Kevin sweep over the house with a black light to see if there are any signs of a struggle. Sure enough, at 10 minutes and 33 seconds, they find a red stain on the bed that is not visible without their equipment. A second similar red stain is found on the mattress at 10 minutes and 42 seconds, so something happened here. A noise interrupts April right as she suspects someone could still be in here.
Do you hear that?
I'll admit that I didn't hear anything at first, but soon a strange hum fills the air. This house has no power, so nothing should be humming at all. You really hear it at 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Babe, come here. Oh, come here, let's go ahead.
The noise guides them to one room in particular. Something in their mind tells them not to go any further. A sixth sense warning that danger is near. April reasons that the floor might not be able to support their weight, but I'm pretty sure they felt the presence of whatever this is.
Is this just, you think it's safe to walk on?
It's a noise they do not hear until they watch the video much later. Looking back, all they knew was that it was time to leave. Have you ever feared you're living a walking nightmare? Titled Daymares, this video was posted by YouTuber Ghosts of Carmel, Maine in October of 2017. The video begins with a short explanation that reads, "When faced with the unknown, alone and frightened, call it Daymares." The 20-minute video opens with a pic of a shadow person appearing in a photo taken in 1906, which also shows the YouTuber's house. The YouTuber says this paranormal figure has been showing up a lot within the past months. The YouTuber then shows evidence of these instances with video footage of the shadow man standing in several places in his home, including silhouetted by the light of the window. He writes that he has a theory who this shadow person is. The man was short. In fact, people used to make fun of his height when he was alive, making him an angry ghost of eternal bitterness who haunts the living through fear. A few clips show the ghost grinning at him in the darkness. One night, there was a lot of paranormal activity going on in the YouTuber's house, including walking and banging. As he takes video footage of his dark home, he asks who was making so much noise.
They were walking around the bedroom all night long, making noise. I even heard rattling sounds, banging. Who was doing it?
On occasion, he captures what he describes as yelling in the background.
Hello? Was somebody down here yelling?
At one point, when he says hello, he is answered.
Was somebody down there yelling? Hi,
He hears strange talking and heads downstairs to see if the TV was left on. After discovering it's off, he places the camera on the ground and leaves it there in an attempt to capture the yelling. He leaves the house altogether, but a neighbor starts mowing the lawn, drowning out some of the noise. However, some moving sounds were caught on the video. At some point, the camera is knocked over, which the YouTubers suggest could only have been done by something paranormal. After this, the YouTuber returns upstairs to capture some more footage. When he turns towards the door, there is some movement. He says it appears as if clothing is being pulled out the door, but after turning the light on, he finds nothing on the landing or downstairs. He returns to the bedroom and says the shadow person is in the window again. There is indeed a shadow there, though it's oddly shapeless. Then something rather solid seems to fall inside the room. He thinks it went under the bed, but all he finds beside the bed is a small teddy bear. Does this video make you a believer in this haunted house? If it does, get ready for some certain daymares. Another shady looking man walks up to a house in Cohasset, Massachusetts, and turns on the flashlight app. He doesn't seem to notice that he's already been caught. The doorbell camera is recording his every move as he appears to shine all around on the ground, possibly lifting up a welcome mat and some other places to look for spare keys. He looks directly at the doorbell at 27 seconds, but seems to either not notice or not care about the camera pointed at him. Later that night, this house was entered, and the police wanted to talk to him. Judging by all of the suspicious activity, I think there's a good chance that this suspect was the one responsible. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.